Ladies and gentlemen, what a smashing start to the weekend. Kevin Spacey's getting beasted, the Supreme Court's killing it over here across the pond, and best of all, France has been on fire for 3 days. I'm loving life. So with all that news to cover, it's time for the triumphal return of the BBC Spews. I think we're on number 56, aren't we? Let's roll. Okay, some smashing news to start off your weekend. First things first. Live, France to curb overnight transport with more riots feared. The French government has requested the shutdown of bus and tram services from 2100 local time over fears of a fourth night of riots. France has been on fire for 4 nights. Stop. A bootneck can only get so erect. At least 875 people were arrested on Thursday night. 875? It's almost a quiet night for the French, isn't it? And President Emmanuel Macron has urged parents to keep their children off the streets. The riots began on Tuesday after police shot dead a 17-year-old boy of Algerian descent named Nahel M. The officer who shot him has apologised, but the teen's death has revived grievances about policing and racial profiling. Right, this is an easy one. You all know the answer. Every Western country is in serious trouble because they've embraced this ideology which teaches people to be victims. If you tell people they're victims, they behave like victims. There was a fascinating study about it that I've been intending to make a video about, where they told a load of women, we're going to put a fake scar on your face and send you into a job interview and see if people act differently towards you, because they probably will. People are judgmental. And then just before they went in for the interview, they said, I'll just touch your scar up for you. And then what they did was they quickly removed it without the person knowing. And then all of the girls went into the interview, sans scar, and afterwards were asked how the interview went, and every single one of them said, oh my God, they were rude, they were cruel, they even said things about my horrific scar, it's disgraceful. If you tell people they're victims, they will behave like victims. So this narrative that we've bought into for the last 10 years is what is stifling and ruining attainment, achievement, wealth, happiness, and racial harmony in all of the Western world. Because the detestable, despicable woke left has encouraged grievance politics. And it's only going to get worse from here. You know it, and I know it. So strap yourselves in, lads, because it's all well good me joking and saying I'm enjoying watching France spontaneously combust for about the 10th time in 6 years. But all joking aside, it's coming to every Western nation. The second any copper, even if it's perfectly reasonable and understandable, shoots someone who many times does deserve it, because lots of these shootings fall in line with the rules of engagement. That Mark Duggan or whatever he was called, the guy in London, the bloke had a gun. I mean, that's a good shooting. And then London was on fire for a week after it because of grievance politics, brainwashing people. It's a terrible idea, it's a race to the bottom, and we all know it. So we can have a chuckle that for once, France is going to smell of burning tyres rather than adulterous sexual liaisons and garlic. But it's coming to every nation in the Western world, so don't laugh too much, yeah. US Supreme Court rules website designer can refuse to serve same-sex couples. The Supreme Court has ruled in favour of a graphic designer who has refused to create wedding websites for same-sex couples. Laurie Smith from Colorado argued she could not serve same-sex couples because of her Christian faith. Colorado state law prohibits businesses open to the public refusing service because of sexual orientation, but the Supreme Court now says artists cannot be compelled to express messages against their religious beliefs. I've talked about this many times in the past, and this is perfectly linked to the argument that I've made dozens of times about the wedding cakes issue, because it's very, very simple. Of course, you can't deny service to someone just because what they happen to look like, or what the sexuality happens to be, or anything else. But there is a huge difference between simply selling someone a product and forcing someone to design something, because it's art. I make art. I do a lot of drawing. I mean, amateurish, violent, somewhat childish drawing, but drawing nonetheless. You can ask me to draw something for you, but you can't say to me, if you don't draw me a picture of the angry bootneck sucking warm baby gravy out of Ricky Martin's ring piece, I'm going to sue you for discrimination. That's a very big difference between asking to buy something and then compelling me to draw something. It's exactly the same with website design. And deep down, everybody knows it, even the woke. I remember arguing about the cake issue with a relative, and she's like a bit of a militant feminist. And this has now given me an even better argument, because at the time I was saying, of course, if you own a bakery, you've got to sell them a tiramisu or a carrot cake. Of course, you're not going to tell someone you're not selling them a chocolate eclair because you don't like what they do in their personal life. But you can't be made to design them a chocolate eclair that looks like a gigantic veiny phallus, can you? And it's the same principle. A website designer can choose who they want to work for. If you're a militant feminist and I say, right love, I'm making a website, it's called SailorsSmashingSlappers.com. You're doing it for me. I want a woman bending over, grabbing her ankles on the homepage, showing the world her lungs. You better do it or you're breaking the law. Come on. Is that not perfectly logical? Is what I've been saying for the last 3 years not perfectly logical? That is game, set and match. You know deep down, even if you walk and therefore have the IQ of a sausage roll, even you must know by now you are wrong and your argument is a bad one. So well done to the Supreme Court. Common sense prevails yet again. Kevin Spacey, jurors told actor is a sexual bully as the sex assault trial opens. A sexual bully, eh? And I thought I had problems when 2 of the older lads were taking my dinner money. I mean, hey, I went hungry a few times, but at least neither of them were interested in bouncing on my shit locker. Kevin Spacey is a sexual bully who assaults other men, jurors have been told. The American actor is facing 12 charges in a British trial covering allegations made by 4 men stretching from 2001 to 2013. The 63-year-old denies all allegations, which his lawyer said contained many damned lies. Prosecutor Christine Agnew told jurors he's an extremely famous actor who has won a number of awards. He is also, the prosecution allege, a man who sexually assaults other men. He's from Hollywood. He fits right in. You can't blame him. There's something in the water in Hollywood. Mick Jagger could go and star in a few films and by the end of the year, he'd be getting piped by half a dozen sweaty male directors in the storage cupboard, wouldn't he? There's just something in the air in Hollywood and sticky things on the streets of Hollywood Boulevard. The first complainant said before the assaults began, the actor would speak openly about his sexuality, which made him uncomfortable. He said he groped him in an aggressive way. And the second complainant said Mr. Spacey simply laughed when he pushed the actor away after being grabbed with such force it was painful at a work event in 2005. Well, let me say, right, joking aside, folks, I'm sure I'm going to disagree with many of you here, but I'm going to go against conventional wisdom and say that personally, I don't think Kevin Spacey should be going to prison for what to me reads like clumsy flirting or possibly somewhat sexually aggressive behaviour. Because is it decent and reasonable? Not really. But should he be going to prison for it? No. If you're a bloke, stick up for yourself. That's what we should be promoting. If you're a grown man and some bloke tries to fondle you, you say, oi, jam jars, keep your hands to yourself or you'll be going home in an ambulance, son. How's that grab you? Easy. I don't want to demasculate the male species, the male gender, and have us acting like prepubescent teenage lesbians. I think either most of these claims are spurious and these people are just trying to get a payday, or, at worst, he is a bit of a dirty bugger, at which point the men should act like men and tell him to do one before he walks with a severe limp for the rest of the week. And not because of sexual activity, but a good shoeing in the car park. Alright, so that's my opinion. I'm sure I'll disagree with many of you. I think we should have a high bar for genuine sexual assault, kind of like in the 80s, right? Clumsy flirting or groping should be met with a bit of aggression from the person that's being unwantedly groped. The idea that you can drink a few too many Stella, make a clumsy pass like Arnold at some bird and slap her ass or something, and then the next thing, be sharing a cell with Randy Ron in Wormwood Scrubs is completely laughable to me. We need to get back to the 80s, whereby if you acted like a dick, people gave you a slap and that was the end of it. But what say you? If you disagree with any of my points, come at me, bro. I love an argument. Have a great weekend, everyone. It's Friday. Despite everything, you can still get a cold beer, and Paris is on fire. So, what a great start to the weekend. Have a good one, and I will see you all for a live stream on Monday. Thanks for watching. Toodle pip.